In recent years, the meme that fitness is far right has become popular in the mainstream left. If your son starts going to the gym, be careful, he might be exhibiting far right behavior. When I first heard this, I laughed it off as absurd, but I've come to realize that fitness does in fact have an implicit political meaning. The logic of fitness as far right goes as follows. From a leftist intersectional perspective, valuing beauty and health is inherently exclusionary, because not everyone is beautiful and healthy. To go a bit deeper, valuing beautiful, healthy, strong bodies necessarily devalues ugly, sickly, and disabled bodies. And, the left would argue, leads ultimately to hatred, discrimination, oppression, and worse. Therefore, from a leftist perspective, the love of beauty, strength, and the body leads ultimately to fascism. I think this line of reasoning is very telling because it sets up the ideas of beauty, health, strength, things which most people will view as inherently good, as the ultimate evil by association with fascism. This in turn implies that ugliness, sickness, disability, etc. are moral goods. I don't think it's going too far or getting too Nietzschean to say that this alone shows that large parts of the modern left are in fact a cult based on a deep-rooted resentment of nature, life, and beauty. We know that beauty, strength, and vitality are inherently good, not only because everyone implicitly values these things, but because the very structure of reality is set up to favor them. They are expressions of healthy life. The leftist analysis that enthusiasm for fitness leads to hatred is inverted because their entire morality is inverted. Their morality is what Nietzsche called slave or anti-life morality. The love of beauty, health, and strength is an affirmative morality which, at its essence, values life. It does not in any way imply the hatred of the ugly, the sick, or the weak. The healthy man views the sick man as unfortunate, not as evil. The weak man entering the gym does not hate the weak, though he may despise his own weakness. He views weakness as something to be overcome in the pursuit of strength. Beauty, strength, vitality are all aspirational values, things to strive for and towards, and in celebrating them, you celebrate the victory of life. So does this make fitness far right? Not exactly. The conservative right also criticizes the celebration of beauty, strength, and vitality, and labels it as pagan. They will incorrectly accuse the left of being a cult of the body, the passions, and the carnal, when leftist ideology in fact seeks to attack and degrade these things, to deconstruct them and de-beautify them. Fitness does, however, have a political meaning. Getting jacked is a political act because it refutes the basic premise of progressive liberalism, upon which contemporary leftism and even contemporary conservatism is founded. If you lift for aesthetics, you believe, or at least after thousands of workouts, you will come to believe, that beauty requires suffering. You will also come to understand that the lack of challenge and struggle creates ugliness, softness, and sickness. This means that, with your very body, with every grueling or exhilarating workout performed in the pursuit of beauty and strength, you are actively refuting the idea that society should be focused on the attainment of material equality and comfort, the alleviation of struggle, the nullification of challenge, making things easier, safer, more convenient, less competitive, etc. Bodybuilders and athletes know that comfort and equality only lead to softness, weakness, and a deep spiritual and psychological dissatisfaction, and therefore, on a societal level, to a speed run of civilizational collapse. It is competition, not equality, and struggle, not comfort, which satisfy the human spirit and create beauty, strength, power, vitality, and success, both within the individual and within a society, which create an excellence of body and spirit and a flourishing of life. Therefore, lifting weights, especially in the pursuit of aesthetics, as well as strength, naturally leads to a Nietzschean worldview. It instills in you that beauty can only come from a disproportionate amount of struggle and pain, thousands of workouts for mere pounds of muscle, and it shows you that the greatest feeling is self-overcoming, feeling that one's power, one's ability increases, and that one's inner nature and potential is more fully expressed. So let us lay out a few practical Nietzschean principles for lifting. The first principle: the drive of every organism is to express its inner nature to the highest degree. In other words, the will to power. Therefore, you must tailor your dream physique to your own unique physical attributes. If you have a thin waist and relatively broad shoulders, then you might go for an Apollonian physique, in which the shoulders, chest, and back are most dominant, giving that classic V-taper look. This is the physique which I aspire towards. But if you have a more blocky torso and wide waist, you might instead aim for the Herculean physique, which is more limb dominant. Creating a dream physique and tailoring it to your unique biology gives you an image to visualize and strive towards. The second principle: transformation and self-overcoming requires challenge. You can only express the full potential of your inner nature by testing yourself against the world and others. As I'm sure you know, to increase in strength and muscle mass, you have to constantly be challenging yourself by adding reps or weight, however minute. Focus on controlling the weight on the negatives and letting the muscles stretch so that it feels like they are ripping apart. It's better to do 2 intense sets that leave your muscles trembling than 4 sets where you never push yourself. And the third principle: life is consumption and growth. Growth requires consumption. You must feed your muscles, which, if you have a fast metabolism like me, means eating ungodly amounts of food. Here are some simple meals which I used to gain 30 pounds in about 2 years. And here are some great channels to watch for more in-depth advice about natural bodybuilding. But you don't need to just train for aesthetics. Train for strength if you like. Play a sport in the spirit of competition. Learn a fighting sport like jiu-jitsu, boxing, or Muay Thai, and thereby refute the idea that being meek is good. Jiu-jitsu is my go-to when I can. Your body is the soil from which your spirit and mind grow. Poor health leads to a clouded mind, while a deadly, vital body leads to a sharp and resilient mind. Your mindset, even your worldview and your core values, are expressed through how you treat your body. Training your body is one of the best ways to train your mind. When you lift, when you do sprints, when you do cold exposure, deep breathing, or meditation, you are training your mind and educating your spirit. The cult of the body is not nihilistic or hedonistic, as conservatives say, nor is it vengeful and cruel like the left says. The cult of the body is the cult of life, and it is the foundation of a healthy spirit and a sound mind. As Nietzsche wrote, culture begins in the body.